a man who answers straight, a man who's always fair. We'll measure him against the others, and when you compare, you'll cast your vote for Kennedy and a change that's overdue. So it's up to you, it's up to you, it's strictly up to you. Kennedy, Kennedy, Kennedy.
Be sure to see Campaign, JFK's Run for President, one of the inspiring exhibits you'll experience at the museum at the JFK Library, Columbia Point, Boston.
I've stopped driving to work. I take the bus now. You know, Mark Stensager has worked with the Metro Council to improve our transportation system. I think he'd make an excellent city councilman.
Thanks, Dave. I'm Mark Stensager. We need to increase our commitment to mass transit. We can build a really effective public transportation system by shifting funds allocated to freeway projects. Let's move people, not just cars.
Vote for Mark Stensager for city council.
Paul Kraabel believes in Seattle.
America's most livable city is doing well, thanks to generous help from Mother Nature, tough decisions, and hard work. We restored the market in Pioneer Square. We have community health centers, child care, and senior centers. The skyline is changing daily, and you can see the neighborhood pride. Look at the home fix-up going on. But there's a lot left to be done. If we work together, we can do it.
Let's keep Paul Kraabel working hard for what we believe in, Seattle.
Traffic is Lexington's biggest problem. As mayor, Bill Hoskins will make computerizing traffic signals a top priority to turn more red lights green for everyone.
There are some people in Congress working to stop Social Security. What would happen if the checks stopped? James Collins introduced 3 bills that would have destroyed the Social Security system. He voted to eliminate the minimum benefit. Senator Lloyd Bentsen fought to save Social Security. He won. But next year, there'll be another fight, and the next. James Collins might not need Social Security, but millions of Americans do. Let's keep Lloyd Bentsen fighting for us.
Senator Al D'Amato, getting it done.
Frank Lautenberg, you know he's for real. Born in Patterson, working-class family, founder of a high-tech New Jersey company. He wrote the Right to Know law to protect us against chemical accidents, the national leader to end dumping of sludge and medical waste. Endorsed by every major environmental group, raised the drinking age to save over 1,000 lives a year. Endorsed by the New Jersey Fraternal Order of Police because he's tough on crime. For us. For real. Frank Lautenberg, New Jersey first.
The Miami Herald says the Bush campaign has sunk to new depths, exploiting the anger and pain of a crime victim. The fact is, her case is in the courts, not on the governor's desk. The Bush campaign should be ashamed. They're not telling the truth. Governor Chiles supports the death penalty and has the same rate of executions as the previous administration. Chiles cut in half the time for death row appeals, and he's locking up violent criminals nearly twice as long as Bob Martinez. If Jeb Bush won't tell the truth about matters of life and death, how can we trust him with our future?
14 years ago, my daughter rode off to school on her bicycle. She never came back. Her killer's still on death row, and we're still waiting for justice. We won't get it from Lawton Chiles because he's too liberal on crime. He's let 75,000 criminals out early and signed 90% fewer death warrants than our last 2 governors. Lawton Chiles has let us down. I know Jeb Bush. He'll make criminals serve their sentences and enforce the death penalty. Lawton Chiles won't.
We live in a state of fear. How can we afford 4 more years of Lawton Chiles? He's released 75,000 criminals early, signed 90% fewer death warrants, spent 5 times more on welfare than he spent to fight crime. Now he opposes criminals serving at least 85% of their sentences. Newspapers say Lawton Chiles is running a low-rent negative campaign and making false accusations. We can't risk 4 more years of Lawton Chiles.
10 million new jobs. Family income up $1,600. President Clinton cut the deficit 60%. Signed welfare reform, requiring work time limits. Taxes cut for 15 million families. Balancing the budget. America's moving forward with an economic plan that works. Bob Dole, $900 billion in higher taxes. Republicans call him tax collector for the welfare state. His risky tax scheme would raise taxes on 9 million families. Bob Dole, wrong in the past, wrong for our future.
Each year in America, over 2,000 kids die in drunk driving accidents. President Clinton wants to protect our kids by taking away driver's licenses from teenagers who drive drunk. Drug test teens before getting a driver's license. The president protecting children. Curfews and school uniforms. Tougher laws to crack down on child pornography. TV ratings. Teen mothers stay in school or lose welfare. All Bob Dole offers are negative attacks. The president is protecting our values.
Let's go back in time, the 60s. Bob Dole's in Congress, votes against creating Medicare, against creating student loans, against the Department of Education, against a higher minimum wage, still there, against creating a drug czar, against the Brady Bill to fight crime, against family and medical leave, against vaccines for children, against Medicare again. Dole Gingrich tried to cut $270 billion. Bob Dole, wrong in the past, wrong for our future.
What's this election all about?
It's about learning.
Dole wants to eliminate the Department of Education.
It's about jobs.
Dole opposed raising the minimum wage 10 times.
It's about economy.
Dole's risky tax scheme would raise taxes on 9 million.
It's about family.
Dole Gingrich tried to kill family and medical leave. Tried to cut Medicare $270 billion.
It's all about winning elections.
Actually, Mr. Dole, it's about our future.
It's sad. All Bob Dole offers are negative attacks. President Clinton appointed a 4-star general drug czar, expanded school anti-drug programs. Dole tried to slash school anti-drug programs 50%, voted against creating a drug czar. President Clinton is protecting our children. Break up violent gangs, drug test teens before getting a driver's license, curfews and school uniforms to instill discipline. All Bob Dole offers are negative attacks. President Clinton is protecting our children, our values.
Before you vote, I want you to know the America I see. I see an America where the government works for us, not the other way around, where parents can choose safe schools for their kids, where the family is strengthened and honored, not battered by the government, where we wage a real war on drugs, and our leaders set the right example, and an America where you keep more of what you earn, because it's your money. If you agree with this America, I'd really appreciate your vote. No American should question my commitment to Medicare. The AARP flatly stated that our plan will increase Medicare spending 7% a year, and they're right. But the president's playing politics with Medicare, trying to scare seniors to get votes. USA Today calls this false and misleading. The Washington Post called it a campaign based on distortion and fear. Medicare is too important to play political games. I won't do it. I'll save Medicare and strengthen it for America's seniors.
The truth, 484 new spending proposals, costing us $432 billion in bigger government, a massive healthcare bureaucracy, thousands of wasteful projects like $2.5 million for alpine slides in Puerto Rico, $76 million for programs like Midnight Basketball. The largest tax increase in history, yet Clinton says.
But I don't think that qualifies me as a closet liberal.
That's not what the facts say, Mr. Clinton. The real Bill Clinton, a real spend and tax liberal.
The truth about Clinton on taxes? Remember?
I will not raise taxes on the middle class.
But he gave the middle class the largest tax increase in history. Higher taxes on your salary, gasoline, Social Security. Clinton even tried higher taxes on heating your home. 255 proposed tax and fee increases in all. Clinton says...
But I don't think that qualifies me as a closet liberal.
Sorry, Mr. Clinton. Actions do speak louder than words. The real Bill Clinton, a real spend and tax liberal.
Nearly half of all eligible Americans don't even bother to vote.
People like me, we're disgusted with politicians
selling out to special interests.
But this time, I'm not wasting my vote.
I'm voting for Ross because you own this country.
We are the first generation of Americans that believes it will be worse off than our parents.
Because Washington is selling out to the special interests.
Don't waste your vote on someone who will sell you out.
Just vote for Ross.
Because you own this country.
Have you ever misplaced $50,000 around the house, left it in a cookie jar, and just forgot about it? Well, Congressman Houk forgot he bought $50,000 in GTE stock. Then, coincidentally, he voted to increase the value of that stock by 40%. Houk now says he didn't know he owned the stock, can't produce the name of his broker, and won't release his taxes to prove he didn't cash in on any other votes in Congress. $21,000 profit on a single vote, and Houk says he didn't even know he owned the stock. Is this guy lucky or what?
Medicare is losing billions each year. Everyone is debating how to save it. Everyone except Dennis Kucinich. The plain dealer called his stand stubborn, unreasonable, just wrong. We've seen Dennis behave this way before, and like before, his way will lead to higher taxes. But now the Kucinich way threatens health care for seniors. His policies would bankrupt Medicare, the same way he bankrupted Cleveland. Call Dennis and say no to higher taxes or less health care for seniors.
It sucks. That's what Steve LaTourette actually said about being our congressman. Hard to believe, but LaTourette told the plain dealer that representing us, a job that pays him $133,000 a year, sucks. That's after LaTourette voted with Gingrich to slash Medicare and education. To Tom Coyne, it's an honor to fight for us by protecting education and Medicare. And he'll get it done. Just ask his Aunt Rosie.
Vote for Tom Coyne. If he don't do what he says he's going to do, he's going to answer to me.
When Newt Gingrich and Congressman Steve LaTourette wanted to fund a tax break for the wealthy, they tried to cut Medicare by $270 billion, forcing every senior to pay over $1,000 more in Medicare premiums, dipping into their savings, causing hospitals to close their doors and turn away elderly patients. Tell Congressman LaTourette to stop voting to slash Medicare. It just goes too far.
Mayor Tom Coyne's been running a negative ad campaign of lies against Congressman Steve LaTourette. Why? So we don't look at Coyne's record. As mayor, Tom Coyne conspired to make up reasons to fire a female clerical worker for political reasons. The federal court that considered the case ruled that Tom Coyne had acted maliciously and with improper motive, violating her civil rights and ordering Coyne to pay thousands of dollars in damages. Now that we know what Tom Coyne has done as mayor, how can we ever trust him in Congress?
Congressman Tom Sawyer has changed. He's taken over $1 million from the Washington Fat Cats and voted himself a $35,000 pay raise. And then Sawyer voted for the largest tax increase in history. He even voted to raise taxes on Social Security. Sawyer voted for tax increases costing the average family $1,000 more each year. Sawyer raised his pay, then our taxes to pay for it. That's liberal. Vote Joyce George for a change.
It's unanimous. The Star-Beacon, News Herald, and Plain Dealer endorse Dan Troy for State Senate because Troy works hard for our families. His opponent's negative campaign is misleading. The truth? Republican Bob Gardner pockets over $100,000 a year from 2 taxpayer-funded salaries plus public pensions. He's tripled taxes on home sales and flip-flopped on campaign spending, guns, and even abortion. The right vote is Dan Troy.
Governor George Voinovich for Bob Gardner.
I call Northeast Ohio home. I know both of the candidates for state senate, and Bob Gardner is clearly the right choice for Lake and Ashtabula counties.
Teacher. Experienced leader. Family man.
Bob Gardner is someone I can work with. As county commissioner of Lake County, he and I have worked together in the past. In the state senate, Bob Gardner will make an even bigger difference for Northeast Ohio.
Bob Gardner for state senate.
With Bob Gardner's experience, he'll make an excellent state senator for Lake and Ashtabula counties. As a career teacher, not a career politician, he'll be a champion for education. As a county commissioner, he's made a difference for our area.
I've known Bob Gardner for over 10 years. In Lake County, he put an end to wasteful spending, saved the taxpayers hundreds of thousands of dollars, and got real results on crime. That's why we need Bob Gardner in the state senate.
The best experience. Bob Gardner for state senate.
Lake and Ashtabula counties in the race for state senate compare their records. Bob Gardner is a career teacher.
Dan Troy is a career politician, voting for and accepting pay raises worth over $200,000.
Bob Gardner wants families to keep more of their money.
Dan Troy has voted to raise your taxes 38 times, including the infamous 90% income tax increase.
So take a good look at the records. Teacher, community leader, family man. The choice is clear. Bob Gardner for state senate.
Western Lake County, both the Plain Dealer and News Herald agree.
Callender for Ohio House.
The Plain Dealer says
He's done his homework on school funding.
Lake County's News Herald says
Callender has all the necessary credentials to be an outstanding legislator.
Jamie Callender.
It's time to elect a new state representative. Kevin will be a leader in education. He'll work to improve the quality of our schools and make them safer for our children. Kevin Coughlin for state representative, the right choice for Summit County.
Kevin Coughlin.
Richland County needs a leader like Sally Houk in the Ohio House of Representatives. A nurse, mother, and respected community leader, Sally Houk will work hard to improve our schools, crack down on crime, and bring more jobs to Richland County. For leadership you can be proud of, Sally Houk is the best choice.
Governor Voinovich is right about Sally Houk and her ideas for helping schools, stopping drugs, and fighting crime.
As your state representative, I'll work hard for all of Richland County.
Houk. Sally Houk.
For Northwest Summit County, it's Bryan Williams for state representative. For our children's education, Williams will protect funding and provide new technology for the future. And Williams will fight for change, including stopping e-check. Williams, Bryan Williams.
Bryan Williams is dedicated to fighting for what's important.
Making education our top priority.
Fighting government waste.
Stopping e-check.
Protecting the environment in a sensible way.
Tuesday, vote for Williams.
Bryan Williams, strong leadership for our family. There's a secret Lee Weingart doesn't want you to know. He's a Republican. Weingart is a Republican lawyer in the tradition of extremist Newt Gingrich, whose priorities are not those of working families. Republican Weingart concocted a scheme to use RTA funds to pay for Art Modell Stadium. Democrat Jane Campbell fought to make laws on drunk driving tougher and passed a law to increase penalties for selling drugs near schools. Jane Campbell, Democrat. She's always fought for families, and she always will.
Remember Jane Campbell? She's the one who tried to raise our taxes 18 times. And Jane Campbell supported 2 property tax increases without our vote. Now we can put the brakes on Jane Campbell's higher taxes with Commissioner Lee Weingart. Lee Weingart is leading the fight against higher taxes. Lee Weingart is endorsed by the Plain Dealer and other leading newspapers and supported by neighborhood leaders and law enforcement. Commissioner Lee Weingart, he's on our side.
Summit County, Brubaker wants to be your engineer, but he's in charge in Kent, and they have 6 of the 18 worst area highway problems. If Brubaker can't handle the job in Little Kent, why put him in charge for all of Summit County? That's one more reason to keep Gene Esser as Summit County engineer. Beacon Journal endorsed Esser, Gene Esser.
On the Ohio Supreme Court, experience matters most, and every major newspaper in Ohio supports Supreme Court Justice Andrew Douglas. The Columbus Dispatch said Douglas has the most experience and the best credentials. The Akron Beacon Journal called Justice Douglas highly intelligent and hard-working. The Cleveland Plain Dealer said Douglas helped change the direction of the court. He should be reelected, and other newspapers agree. Supreme Court Justice Andrew Douglas, a justice for all.
Mariana Brown Bettman has never tried a criminal case, never sentenced a criminal, but prosecutors call Supreme Court Justice Stratton the Velvet Hammer. Endorsed by the FOP, keep Evelyn Stratton on the Supreme Court. She's the Velvet Hammer.
Out on a farm, you become independent. You have to think for yourself. So I don't believe in party labels, but in individual candidates. Take Supreme Court. Justice Andrew Douglas and Judge Mariana Brown Bettman are as different as night and day. But they agree on getting tough on criminals, worker safety, and protecting families. And that's more important than partisan politics. Don't believe me, just look at the record. Bettman and Douglas are the most qualified candidates for the Ohio Supreme Court. Now that's using your head.
Judge Kenneth Rocco for the Court of Appeals, a lifetime of service to our community. Kenneth Rocco, a strict, no-nonsense judge. Rocco, a top Ohio lawmaker. Rocco, prosecutor, law director, and recognized legal scholar endorsed by the Plain Dealer. Sun newspapers, AFL-CIO, UAW, and Cosmo Democratic League. Both the Cleveland and Cuyahoga Bar Association state that Rocco has integrity and professional competence. Elect Judge Kenneth Rocco, endorsed Democrat, a good judge for the Court of Appeals.
There is no justice when victims are treated like criminals. Judge Boyko.
I'm Judge Boyko. In my court, I never forget the victims, their families, or you.
Boyko for justice. Boyko for judge.
Integrity, Judge Callahan. Fairness, Judge Callahan. Endorsed by newspapers, labor, and community organizations, Judge Callahan. Keep Judge Callahan.
My boys are fortunate. They know they're our #1 priority in life. But many Cuyahoga County children are not as fortunate. Their families are torn apart, and the children become the victims. I'm running for domestic relations judge to make a difference in their lives. Next to my family, public service is my #1 priority. I respectfully ask for your vote.
Lynn Arco Kelly, for Domestic Relations Judge.
For Summit County Prosecutor, the winner is Maureen O'Connor, with experience putting violent criminals in jail. Endorsed by the Beacon Journal and Plain Dealer, Maureen O'Connor.
Now in Summit County, many criminals here.
I'm going to give you the maximum sentence.
From Judge Whitmore. Judge Whitmore just set an all-time Summit County record for the longest sentence ever imposed. With your vote, Judge Whitmore will keep doing her job for a safer Summit County. Judge Whitmore.
Summit County can make a change in juvenile court with Judy Hunter. Hunter will end business as usual in juvenile court.
Only my plan will send the right message to violent juveniles.
Judy Hunter for Summit County Juvenile Judge.
It's working in states all around us. In Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, and Iowa, riverboat casinos have created over 26,000 good jobs. And this year in Missouri, they're producing nearly $100 million for local schools. Issue 1 can bring similar benefits to Ohio. Issue 1 will permit limited riverboat gambling in 4 counties, and only then where a majority of voters approve. No more than 8 boats in the state. A nationally respected accounting firm says Issue 1 can create 21,000 new jobs on the boats in tourism, retail, and supply. Average salary, $25,000. Issue 1 can produce $186 million a year for Ohio schools without raising taxes. By law, nobody, not even the politicians, could spend the money on anything else. For a free copy of this fact book on Issue 1, call 1-800-935-FACT. For strong schools and a strong economy, yes on Issue 1. Throughout the Midwest, riverboat casinos have created 26,000 jobs.
Riverboat has brought a lot more business to this restaurant and a lot of jobs into this community.
By allowing limited riverboat gambling in Ohio, Issue 1 can create 21,000 new jobs. Average salary $25,000. And riverboats attract tourists.
They stay in hotels and motels, eat in restaurants, shop in stores. It's given the economy a shot in the arm.
For jobs and a strong economy, yes on Issue 1.
Across Ohio, people are making up their own minds about the benefits of Issue 1.
I know what's good for my family. Jobs and money for schools. That's good for everybody.
More jobs means more people off of welfare and taking care of their families.
Our schools need money, but I don't want my taxes to go up. That's why Issue 1 makes sense.
I don't need politicians telling me what's good for my family. The way I look at it, jobs and more money for schools are good for everybody.
For jobs and schools, yes on Issue 1.
Don't be fooled by Issue 1's fancy ads.
Casino promoters say Issue 1 will help our schools.
The Cincinnati Post says that argument is a hoax, and the School Board Association calls it a gimmick.
They say Issue 1 will bring new jobs.
The Plain Dealer says casinos will bring bankruptcy, moral decay, and crime.
No wonder Ohio newspapers, citizen groups, law enforcement leaders, and the Ohio School Board Association all say vote no.
Join me and Ohio's leaders and vote no on casino gambling. Vote no on Issue 1.
There's an issue this November that helps thousands of families get better jobs. It lets students start college at less than half the cost of a university. Higher education at any age, at any time, days, nights, and weekends. It could only be Tri-C, Cuyahoga Community College. Issue 2. Issue 2 keeps Tri-C working for everyone. Issue 2. Tri-C, where futures begin.
Today, knowledge is power. College education means more than ever. That's why we need Issue 2. Issue 2 keeps Tri-C affordable for working families. Issue 2 helps students starting college, adults building careers and incomes, people going from welfare to work. Where would we be without Tri-C? Continue your support. Vote for Issue 2. Tri-C, where futures begin.
20 years of forced busing are over. Students are walking to neighborhood schools. Administration was cut. Weak principals fired. At last, teaching and learning come first. better schools are in sight. Issue 31 is for textbooks, security, extracurriculars, improved reading, all-day kindergarten. A citizen panel will monitor every dollar. For Cleveland kids, it's their only chance. Vote for Issue 31. It's about kids.
It's time to listen to the children.
We can have the schools we need.
They got rid of weak administrators who were not doing the job.
Forced busing is over.
Our teachers are working hard.
Issue 31 will make schools better and safer.
It's for security, textbooks,
all-day kindergarten, extracurriculars, improved reading.
It's our only chance.
Cleveland's kids are worth it. It's about us.
Issue 31. It's about kids.
When it comes to education, Senator D'Amato knows the liberals are wrong. Our public school system isn't working because liberals have put union demands ahead of our children. Al D'Amato wants to change that. It's time to expel violent, disruptive juveniles so good kids can learn. It's time to let parents choose which public school in their own school district their child attends. And finally, it's time we told the teachers' union to put our children first.
Can you believe Christy Whitman hiding behind inaccurate negative ads, distorting Jim McGreevy's record? In fact, newspapers report Jim McGreevy voted to cut income taxes, and McGreevy has not proposed any tax increase. But Whitman keeps slinging mud, trying to hide the fact that our property taxes keep rising. School standards keep falling. We still pay the highest car insurance in the country. And Christy keeps sweeping problems under the rug.
Don't know who to choose for governor? You know you don't agree with them on anything, so why are you voting for them? Don't waste your vote on Whitman or McGreevy. There's a better choice. Murray Sabrin. New ideas for New Jersey. Lower car insurance through deregulation, more competition, and an end to no fault. Sabrin. More tax cuts, reduce welfare benefits, less spending. Whitman and McGreevy. Not a dime's worth of difference between them. Sabrin for governor. Finally, someone worth voting for.
In the race for Westchester County Executive, the choice is clear. You know liberal Andy Spano wants to raise your taxes. Spano repeatedly called for a new county income tax. And you know Spano even supports huge increases in sales taxes. Ted Dunn is a proven tax fighter. As mayor, Dunn held the line on taxes 3 years in a row, and he's pledged to do the same as our county executive. When it comes to taxes, the choice is clear. Ted Dunn is the proven tax fighter. Ted Dunn for county executive.
Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Andy Spano. You can find all three in Disney World, but only Andy Spano took a taxpayer-funded trip to get there. That's right, liberal Andy Spano used your tax dollars for a trip to Disney World. Spano even spent your money on a trip to sunny New Mexico. Higher taxes for us, more trips for him. No wonder liberal Andy Spano wants to increase our taxes. Andy Spano, too liberal with our money.
Working together, we've cut and frozen general county property taxes for 5 years in a row. This year, we're cutting taxes again. We've done it by cutting costs. We've cut county cars, reduced bureaucrats by 23%, and put welfare recipients to work. Now we've cut and frozen general county property taxes for 6 straight years. It's a record I'm proud of.
Tom Galata, fighting for us. Your children have a right to the best education possible. Abe Hirschfeld wants to make sure you have the right to choose the best schools to provide it. Abe Hirschfeld's plan gives parents the right to choose which public school their child attends. It could be the most important decision you make for your children's future. Real choice for parents, better schools for Manhattan, brighter futures for our children. Abe Hirschfeld for Manhattan Borough President, because our children deserve the best.
Every generation, every parent, we make every decision based on what's best for our children. We should judge ourselves not by our own success, but by the success of the next generation. I was proud to write California's new textbook law and give every child new books.
I'm Cruz Bustamante. I'd appreciate your consideration for Lieutenant Governor.
Distortions, dishonesty,
That's what newspaper editorials say about Kurt Pringle's wild charges against his opponent. First, Pringle took the Fifth Amendment to avoid self-incrimination for harassment of minority voters. Then, Pringle was fingered as the mastermind of a plot to rig an election. Now, Pringle is trying to manipulate this election.
That's why California newspapers endorse Phil Angelides for treasurer. Phil Angelides for treasurer, for honesty.
When a child learns to read, a whole world opens up. That's why Delane Easton fought and won the battle to lower class size in 86,000 classrooms across California. But now our progress is threatened. Gloria Tuckman wants to take money away from public schools. Gloria Tuckman even voted to sell off public school buildings to developers. The choice is clear. Delane Easton for superintendent.
Uh-oh, we got trouble.
The shady insurance companies in California really hate to see me coming, because when they're ripping you off, it's my job to hold them accountable. We've forced insurance companies to refund nearly $1.1 billion to consumers and increased industry fines by 600%. So I may not win any popularity contests with some in the insurance industry, but my job isn't to please them. It's to watch them.
Insurance Commissioner Chuck Quackenbush, getting the job done right.
It is time to get government back within its means and to lighten our punitive tax burden. On these principles, there will be no compromise.
Bob Franks raised our taxes 120 times. He voted with Jim Florio 90% of the time. And Bob Franks opposed President Bush's tax cuts, the most important since Ronald Reagan. Reagan, Bush, Schindler, they're true tax cutters. Bob Franks, just another tax-hiking liberal.
When children are at risk, seconds count, and experience matters.
As district attorney, I prosecuted child abusers, and I sent them to prison. And as your congressman, I led the fight to create our local Amber Alert system, the rapid response network that helps locate kidnapped children. I've worked with law enforcement to give police the tools they need to fight crime.
We told him what we needed to keep people safe, and he listened.
I've never stopped working to protect our kids, and I never will.
Over the years, she's earned our trust, saying no to special interests, putting the people of Kansas first, respecting our tax dollars.
As insurance commissioner, department spending has been reduced 19%. As governor, I'll cut the waste with a top-to-bottom audit of state government.
Kathleen Sebelius, tough performance audits to streamline government and control spending, discipline, commitment, trust. Kathleen Sebelius, governor.
It's disappointing. TV ads that say one thing when the facts tell a different story. The ads claim Jim Talon supported the patient's Bill of Rights, but for the facts, you've got to look at his record. In Congress, Talon voted against the bipartisan Patient's Bill of Rights. It's true. And as a highly paid special interest lobbyist, Talon sided with big corporations fighting to dismantle Missouri's patients' rights law. Jim Talon, the TV ads just don't tell the truth. And he's not on our side.
My wife, Wendy, was murdered by terrorists on September 11th.
The Faulkner's daughter, Ashley, closed up emotionally. But when President George W. Bush came to Lebanon, Ohio, she went to see him, as she had with her mother 4 years before.
He walked toward me, and I said, Mr. President, this young lady lost her mother in a World Trade Center.
He turned around, and he came back, and he said, I know that's hard. Are you all right?
Our president took Ashley in his arms and just embraced her. And it was at that moment that we saw Ashley's eyes fill up with tears.
He's the most powerful man in the world, and all he wants to do is make sure I'm safe, that I'm okay.
What I saw was what I want to see in the heart and in the soul of the man who sits in the highest elected office in our country.
Progress for America Voter Fund is responsible for the content of this message.
I'm Barney Frank, and I authorized this message. I can't imagine who else would.
To cut your property taxes, we must stop this outrageous waste. Incredible pay-to-play scandals. Contractors paying politicians for contracts costing us billions. The state runs up over $8 billion to build half the schools it should. Now the politicians want to spend $200 million of our money to build an ice hockey arena in Newark. Let the wealthy owners foot that bill. By eliminating this outrageous waste, we'll give you the 30% property tax cut that you need and deserve.
When he ran the coal stores, everybody knew Herb. Every checker, every stocker can tell you their own personal story about their relationship with Herb Kohl. And I think as a senator, he hasn't strayed far from that.
He doesn't look for the limelight, so people don't always know that he's behind the scenes helping in ways that touch their lives.
Herb Kohl, investing in kids with after-school programs and college scholarships, expanding access to health care for small businesses and farmers, battling the drug companies to lower prescription costs for seniors, targeting illegal drugs and gun violence to save young lives.
Senator Kohl's commitment to children is very genuine.
He knows how people live, he knows their needs.
Instead of just standing back there and jaw-jacking, he comes through for us.
It's about what can he do to leave something behind that makes this a better place for everyone who lives in this state.
My special interests are the people of Wisconsin. That's my special interest.
I'm Herb Kohl, and I approve this message.
There is no business that has buying power that doesn't negotiate discounts. That's the whole point.
In business, Herb Kohl bought in bulk to drive down costs. So when Congress banned Medicare from negotiating lower-priced prescriptions, Kohl said no. Now he's fighting to repeal that backroom deal.
The pharmaceutical industry gives big amounts of money to politicians. So here they got their payoff. It is really rotten, and it stinks. And it's something that we must eradicate.
I'm Herb Kohl, and I approve this message.
For 8 years, we've been told that the way to a stronger economy was to give huge tax breaks to corporations and the wealthiest, cut oversight on Wall Street, and somehow all Americans would benefit. Well, now we know the truth. Instead of prosperity trickling down, pain has trickled up. We need to change direction. Now. I'm Barack Obama, and here's what I'll do as president. End the Wall Street free-for-all with common-sense safeguards that put homeowners and struggling families first, not corporate greed and CEO bonuses. Jumpstart our economy with a middle-class tax cut paid for by closing special interest loopholes. And get serious about energy independence, a 10-year mission to create millions of good-paying jobs by investing in made-in-America energy and infrastructure. You can read my whole plan to rebuild our economy on our website, barackobama.com. It's time to get our economy back on track and put the middle class first again. And that's why I approve this message. So I'm not worried about CEOs. I'm not worried about corporate lobbyists. I'm worried about the couple that's trying to figure out how they're going to retire. I'm worried about the family that's trying to figure out how they can save for their child's college education. I'm worried about the guy who's worked in a plant for 20 years and suddenly sees his job shipped overseas and has lost not just his job, but his health care, his pension, and the sense of dignity that comes with having a good job. That's who I'm worried about. That's who I'm going to be fighting for and thinking about every single day that I'm in the White House. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
On health care reform, two extremes. On one end, government-run health care, higher taxes. On the other, insurance companies without rules denying coverage. Barack Obama says both extremes are wrong. His plan? Keep your employer-paid coverage. Keep your own doctor. Take on insurance companies to bring down costs. Cover pre-existing conditions and preventive care. Common sense for the change we need.
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
What a week. Democrats blamed Republicans. Republicans blamed Democrats. We're the United States of America. It shouldn't take a crisis to pull us together. We need a president who can avert crisis, put people back to work, grow our economy, and move people from surviving to thriving. We need leadership without painful new taxes. That will make our country strong again. I'm John McCain, and I approve this message.
Who is Barack Obama? He says our troops in Afghanistan are
just air raiding villages and killing civilians.
How dishonorable. Congressional liberals voted repeatedly to cut off funding to our active troops, increasing the risk on their lives. How dangerous. Obama and congressional liberals, too risky for America.
I'm John McCain, and I approve this message.
Obama rewards his friends with your tax dollars. Tony Resco, $14 million. Allison Davis, $20 million. Kenny Smith, $100,000. That's unethical. Congressional liberals promise to raise your taxes to reward their friends with wasteful pork. Taxes for you, pork for them. Who's gonna stop them? Congressional liberals or him?
I'm John McCain, and I approve this message.
When our economy's in crisis, a big government casts a big shadow on us all. Obama and his liberal congressional allies want a massive government. Billions in spending increases, wasteful pork. And we would pay painful income taxes, skyrocketing taxes on life savings, electricity and home heating oil. Can your family afford that?
I'm John McCain, and I approve this message.
Met Tom Perriello yet? A New York lawyer who's moved back to Virginia to run for Congress, but his liberal policies are still from New York. Perriello opposes the offshore and Alaskan drilling we need to lower gas prices, opposes the Marriage Protection Amendment, which protects traditional marriage, and Perriello supports the so-called comprehensive immigration reform. We know what that means: amnesty and open borders for illegal immigrants. Tom Perriello, wrong for Virginia.
I'm Virgil Goode, and I approve this saying.
What can you expect from Chris Christie? A governor who'll repeat the failed Bush economics. A governor opposed to a woman's right to choose. Even supporting a constitutional amendment banning abortion. A governor who sides with the gun lobby against outlawing armor-piercing rifles. A governor opposed to funding stem cell research and preschools. A governor who doesn't share our values. Chris Christie, wrong when it matters most.
John Corzine promised to cut our property taxes. Instead, he gave us the highest tax burden in the country. Now, Corzine admits he's willing to raise taxes even more. John Corzine, his negative ads can't hide his failed record.
Here's exactly what I'll do as governor. I'll cut spending and end the special interest giveaways. I'll cut taxes and restore your property tax rebates. I'll bring good jobs back to New Jersey, not chase them to other states. And I'll make sure all of our children get the education they deserve.
Newspapers call Bill Thompson's negative attacks distortions absurd. Official records show when Thompson ran the old Board of Ed, dropout rates went up, alarming violence and billions wasted. He was missing in action. As comptroller, the New York Times revealed city pension funds underperformed, while Thompson took in $500,000 from the money managers he hired.
Bill Thompson is not really very effective.
I would say that Thompson represents the same old politics.
How much will Bill Thompson cost you? As head of the old Board of Ed, Thompson was missing in action while billions were wasted. As comptroller, the Times reports Thompson gave millions in contracts to people who donated to his campaign. As mayor, Thompson has proposed more than $4 billion in new spending with no way to pay for it. Well, maybe one way.
So tax increases should probably be done across the board.
Bill Thompson, he cost you before. He'll cost you as mayor.
Hi, I'm Ron Johnson, and yes, I approve this message. Listen, I spent the last 30 years building a manufacturing business in Oshkosh. Russ Feingold, he spent the last 30 years as a career politician. I've created secure jobs here in Wisconsin. Russ Feingold, he thinks government creates jobs. I believe Washington is crushing us with spending and debt. And Russ Feingold, he voted for it. This election offers a clear choice. We can bring America back. Hi, I'm Ron Johnson. While Russ Feingold slings mud, I'm focusing on our future. We have a clear choice. We can keep going the Feingold way, the Washington way, with government-run health care, the failed stimulus bill, and record job losses, or we can bring America back with discipline, hard work, and common sense. The ideas that made America the greatest, freest, most productive country in the world. I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.